I will try and aim to upload a completed video every 3 to 4 weeks. Hello again. Hope you don't mind me putting up a very quick update to the channel here before the actual video starts. As you've just seen, I said in my previous update video that I would try to make a completed video every 3 to 4 weeks. In case you haven't noticed by now, I seem to have mistaken 3 to 4 weeks for 3 to 4 months. Quite simply, the reason for that is because I don't have enough time. So for anyone watching who cares, here's my new video upload schedule. Videos are uploaded when they are finished. Until I'm able to somehow get into the stride of things, no one should expect videos to be uploaded often. At least, not right now. Maybe sometime in the future I'll be able to. If so, I'll let everyone know. Anyway, sorry to keep you waiting. Here's the actual video. Enjoy. I know I'm very late to the discussion and it's pretty much old news by now, but gosh darn it, I worked hard on this video, I just had to finish it. Please understand. We've all heard of Doctor Who, right? Two Hearts, Big Blue Box, time travel, aliens, robots, Daleks, Cybermen. It's good, and I like it. I've watched every episode since it first aired in 2005. I'm of course talking about the revived series, not the classic ones. I've seen some of the classic ones. They're good, mostly. However, I'm going to be talking about the most recent news that's come out regarding Series 11. How exciting. Straight off the bat, the Doctor's going to be acted by a woman for the very first time. A lovely looking woman named Jodie Whittaker, to be exact. Someone who I've never heard of. Oh well. It's a big moment. Everyone's talking about it. By the looks of things, most people seem to be okay with it. I'm not. And I'm not alone in thinking this. Let's get something out of the way before we start. I'm going to go into topics that some people might be rather upset about. Nothing heart-wrenching, but rather issues that many people have decided are problems in today's society. Equality, gender, political correctness, etc. The consensus seems to be that you can't talk about this news in any negative way lest you're a sexist, misogynist, heartless person who doesn't like seeing anything change.
You know, this is very much down to personal opinion. Personally, I have trouble. And I speak now as a fan who grew up watching it. I have trouble with the idea of a female Doctor, only because I reckon if you're born on Gallifrey a man, you probably are a male Time Lord.
As if the Doctor turning into a woman is the absolute worst thing to ever happen to men. First of all, the Doctor turning into a woman is hardly an issue, if not at all. Fans aren't upset because of a lady. Fans are worried about what direction the show is heading in and what this could mean for the future of Doctor Who. Just because some people don't like the decision the Doctor's now a woman doesn't mean that they all hate women. I'd wager that 95% of everyone who never liked this decision aren't spiteful, terrible people. Men are allowed to criticise something a woman is involved in as much as women are allowed to criticise something a man is involved in. We are, after all, equal. We good? No? Whatever. There's a ton more here than I would like to talk about, unfortunately, though I do find this to be a good topic for a video to discuss this situation. I don't mind the fact that Jodie Whittaker is cast as the Doctor. At least I don't think I do. If the head writer of Doctor Who decided she was the most suitable actor for the part, who am I to complain? The fact that the Doctor's now being played by a woman isn't what I'm upset about. It's everything around this. And I mean all the issues around the Doctor being a woman. I suppose I should start off by getting everyone up to speed here. Doctor Who is one of my favourite shows to watch on television. It's absolute sci-fi geeky goodness. And who doesn't like sci-fi geeky goodness? It's probably one of the best sci-fi shows out there.
Great balls of fire!
To give you an idea of how popular it is, if you ask someone to name 3 science fiction movies or television shows, you would most likely hear Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who, which basically shows Doctor Who is on par with 2 huge multi-million-dollar blockbuster franchises.
Charlie?
Oh my God, I'm awake! It's morning!
Oof. And need we talk about the soundtrack? The soundtrack of the revived era is just filled with some of the most beautiful, awe-inspiring pieces of music my ears have ever listened to. It's a fantastic show. Simple as. 10 series and multiple specials past, still going as strong as ever. Unfortunately, for the past 3 series it's been clear that Doctor Who is losing a lot of the punch it's had since the beginning. Now it's still good, don't get me wrong here, but you're not going to argue that Peter Capaldi's Doctor was more fun, memorable and exciting as Matt Smith's Doctor.
It's a fez, I wear a fez now. Fezzes are cool. Oh!
Now, that's not the actor to blame. It's the writing. In my opinion, there's been a steady decline in the quality of the writing after Series 4. Series 5 was still great. A new head writer was taking charge, everything seemed different, but not too different. Matt Smith won a lot of people over very quickly, which is a tricky thing to do as a new Doctor, surprisingly. But as you watch more and more of the later series, 6, 7, 8, it all seemed dry. It's hard to really explain without seeing it all for yourself. You also tend to see a pattern in the writing, where the entire episode would be incredibly hard to follow and make little sense until it drops an essential piece of information near the very end where you would have to watch the entire episode again to try and piece everything together. Whew.
It's like, Super Mario. Figuring out what's going on. Deleting himself from the game. Because he's sick of dying.
Whoa, what?
That isn't fun to watch, it's just annoying. So when it came to Capaldi's era, not much changed. Series 9 was just humourless, colourless, depressing, but I kinda liked it. I wasn't sure why, but it seemed like it harkened back to William Hartnell's era, where he was more of a heartless, grumpy old man who's lived a long, grueling life and has many stories he wishes to keep secret.
Look, they're both kind people. Why wouldn't you trust them? All you've got to do is ask them to promise to keep our secret and...
It's out of the question.
I won't go, Grandfather. I won't leave the 20th century. I'd rather eat the TARDIS than you.
Now you're being sentimental and childish.
No, I mean it.
I'm not sure why, but that really appealed to me. Heaven Sent is an episode I'll never forget. However, it seemed that this approach was not popular, so they went right back to the more upbeat, goofy type Doctor. Which is fine by me, really. We'll talk about Series 10 in a moment. Back to the Doctor being a woman now. Now, I've talked about my concerns with Doctor Who's writing. With all that said, the question is the Doctor being played by a woman going to fix this issue? No, it isn't. At least I can't see any way of this working out for the better. It's as if the executives at the BBC were like,
Doctor Who is declining in viewership. We need to win back our audience. Any ideas, gentlemen?
You know, there's been a big buzz about the Doctor regenerating to a woman for a while. Perhaps we are not appealing enough to the female demographic because of the Doctor playing more towards the male stereotype. I should know. My wife and daughters are female rights activists.
Great Scott! What's your name, boy?
Great Scott, sir.
Great Scott! Great Scott! That's brilliant! After losing Top Gear, Doctor Who is pretty much the only thing people watch on the BBC, and it's practically the only thing keeping us afloat.
Slow. Yes.
Well, that and the license fee. With this change, we can only see success. Nah. Where's my bag of expiring pound coins to throw at you?
I suppose I should explain the BBC a bit for the benefit of those of you who don't know. The British Broadcasting Corporation is the UK's first public service broadcaster, founded in 1922. Like any other broadcasting network, it provides the public with news, entertainment, articles, etc. Now, one thing to remember about the BBC is that it is state-funded. It comes from the taxes people pay for the TV licence. You don't pay your licence, you lose your TV. Anyway, if you don't care, you still have the option of subscribing to an online streaming service like Netflix or Amazon Prime, which doesn't seem all that bad a trade, to be honest.
Yes, you can. Good.
11 miles lie ahead.
Are you there? Ow!
Actually, some people here would argue that it would be better for the BBC to be reformed as such a streaming service. You know, to give people the option. As is, you don't have that choice. To put it this way, Americans, imagine if CNN was funded by your taxes.
Personally, so I mean, my read on this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, she's kind of getting edged out there on the welcome carpet. Some people have said maybe it also wasn't appropriate to be holding hands at this moment. What is your take, knowing her, about what happened here?
You know, Melania is an incredible human being. She's a very kind person. She is standing by her husband.
Now let's take a quick look at certain things the BBC has done with her money, shall we? The BBC tries to be non-biased by giving equal weight to both sides of the argument, even if one side is clearly the lesser argument. Great start. The BBC ends up making themselves look racist by not hiring white people for the sake of a diversity quota. That one time the BBC just so happened to forget to mention to people that the nurse they interviewed was a Jeremy Corbyn supporter. And this strange agenda, where the German GDP up to 0.6% from 0.4% is a good thing. But the British growth slows to a 0.3% is a bad thing, even though it's still a growth? I'd explain each of these situations in more detail, however I don't want this video to be over 30 minutes longer than it has to. If you want to confirm everything I just mentioned, I have links to all the sources in the description. But even if you don't check them, you can understand where I'm coming from, right? Now, it's not unreasonable for a media outlet to take a specific stance on an issue. That is all but false. But when it's literally funded from the people, that's when there's a big problem. I mean, the whole point of newspapers hundreds of years ago was to give common individuals a voice to spread their opinions to a wider number of people. But at least these people got to buy what newspaper they wanted to read. And in case you think I'm against the idea of everyone voicing their opinion to a specific issue, I'm not. I'm against the idea of having Britain's biggest news outlet spreading very specific political and social agendas when the public is the one being taxed to keep it going. The BBC does attempt to be fair, but it usually always ends up in backfiring. They attempt to make everyone equal, but in doing so makes the culprit equal to the victims. Now, you may recall I've mentioned before that I don't want to get into politics, as it's a mind-boggling, discombobulated mess. But this cannot be ignored in this situation. Now that you know what the BBC is, let's get back on topic here. Stephen Moffat, the head writer for series 5 to 10 of Doctor Who, is leaving, stepping down, and a new fellow named Chris Chibnall, who has previously written some episodes of Doctor Who and its adult-oriented spin-off, Torchwood, is taking his place. He also has worked on a series named Broadchurch, which is a detective show, which I've never heard of, though it stars David Tennant, Jodie Whittaker and Arthur Darvill, who have all been in, or are about to be in, major Doctor Who roles. I would call this a good move on my part. You could tell Stephen Moffat's way of writing was getting exhausted, which is a real shame because I feel Capaldi's Doctor suffered because of it, although he does have some amazing scenes.
When you've killed all the bad guys, And when it's all perfect and just and fair, when you have finally got it exactly the way you want it, what are you going to do with the people like you? The troublemakers. How are you going to protect your glorious revolution from the next one?
So the question is, why would Chris make such a drastic decision in his first run as head writer of Doctor Who? Why is the Doctor a woman now? Is it because he wants to show equality? Well, there's no point, because women already have equal opportunities to men, at least in Great Britain. Equal opportunities essentially means that no matter what race, gender, ethnicity, disability, or anything you might have or are, everyone has the opportunity to succeed in any profession as long as they meet the demand for said profession. It's all here in the Equality Act of 1975, so there's nothing to prove by turning the Doctor into a woman. All it does is cause controversy and confuse fans of the show as to why they did such a thing. Is it to win over the female crowd? David Tennant did that just fine, and he's not a woman. Plus, it's the whole reason why the Doctor has multiple female companions. They are the ones to draw in the female crowd, and they're all great. Well, save Prettyface over here. Is it to show that women have the ability to be anything they want?
No! No!
If that were the case, then that would mean any character from any form of media can be recast or remade as a woman. Every single one. From James Bond, to Indiana Jones, to John McClane, to the Terminator. Oh wait, they already did that.
I like your gun.
What? At least it was a different Terminator. That's the thing. This isn't a different Doctor, or a spin-off. It's the same Doctor we've all known for over 50 years.
Oh, but
This is a risky and drastic change to a beloved character. One that I fear isn't going to pay off. And no, you can't recast James Bond, John McClane and Indiana Jones as a woman just for the sake of it. So why should the Doctor be cast as a woman?
I can see a movie with a female agent,
right?
But why would it have to be James Bond? What's wrong? What's wrong with having a James Bond male? Why all of a sudden, that's I know that discussion,
Yes.
and it's political correctness gone bonkers. I totally agree with the fact that you should have more interesting roles for women. It just needs to make sense. Why would you cast Dave Bautista as Catwoman?
Is it possibly because there are a lot of feminists that complained about Doctor Who? Have you heard about the Marvel comic crisis? A lot of feminists were very unhappy about their comics for obvious reasons. So what did Marvel do? They turned all their superheroes into a collection of the most diverse set of colourful characters you will ever see. And it bombed. It bombed bad. Why? Because it turns out people don't read comics to be educated in equality. You can find multiple videos of Marvel comic fans upset about this new agenda-ridden change.
First off, yes, the super feminist inspired writing is incredibly stupid. Partially because it's feminist writing. Because at the end of the day, feminism is bullshit. So why would I want to read a book that is full of feminist bullshit?
If you go read the editorials, if you go read Marvel Age, if you go read any interview ever, this is how Marvel, for the first 50 plus years of its existence, geez, way more than that, from like the 60s until about 10 years ago, this is how they pushed everything forward. They said, hey, we got this crazy idea. We really hope you like it. And if you don't like it, we'll change it back. And they did it kind of tongue-in-cheek. They did a umpteen variations of that, but they did that. New Marvel, SJW Marvel, the bad Marvel that has average sales of like 20 to 25,000 per issue. Their new thing is, we are doing something whether you like it or not. We really would almost like it if you didn't like it because we absolutely hate you fans. By the way, if you don't buy the book, we're just going to keep relaunching it.
Why is it that Steve Rogers and Thor Odinson and Tony Stark and many others are timeless characters? Well, it's very simple. We can all relate to them. Everybody can relate to them. Men, women, blacks, whites, Latinos, so on and so forth. Because they all represent certain things that we wish we could be as people. And that's the real thing about diversity.
People bought Captain America comics not to see some super soldier beat people up with a shield, but because they loved the character of Steve Rogers. Creating an original character who is homosexual, black or female, is fine on paper, but taking an established character people already love, warping them to something entirely different, and daring to slap the identity of the original character you just corrupted onto the front cover is an effective way to alienate your most loyal fans.
If you don't believe me, give it a quick search and you'll see. I've seen some of the videos, and if it isn't the diversity that draw these fans away, it's the absolute feminist pandering that bugs the life out of them. The point of comic books is supposed to be a power fantasy, an escape from reality, much like a video game or action movie. So when you take all that away and start preaching about equality, people stop buying comic books. Apply that logic to Doctor Who, and you'll see why I'm concerned. Is it because of all the writing opportunities this provides? Really think about this. What can you do with a female doctor that you cannot do with a male doctor? Not much, really. The reasons I don't think this is going to improve the writing of the show is because of the problems the writer has when writing a woman. Now, I am in no way suggesting that it is impossible to write a woman role in a script, but I honestly have no idea how they're going to pull this off. Let's say they make her very emotional, which is something the Doctor is. For a male role, this is very interesting in a story because typically males are not so open to their emotions. However, for a female, some people are going to have problems with this, whether it's the Doctor or not.
And I'm not speaking as a doctor now, I'm speaking as a viewer. It is very much what you have with the modern doctors is a slightly unsure, uncertain, troubled doctor with a very strong female companion. And it seems to me if you reverse that, if you have an uncertain, a troubled or a fallible female doctor with a really strong male companion, you've got more of a stereotype than anything else. So I personally think the Doctor's a man, a male.
Let's say they don't go this route and go in the direction of having a quiet, serious, dark, gritty Doctor. Then they run the risk of making her as dry and boring as anything. I doubt they're going to go this route, but what do you have left? The only thing left is to just not make the Doctor act any different, as if nothing's changed, as if regenerating into a woman is a normal thing.
But I'm here. I'm a girl.
Then what's the point in casting a female if you're not going to change anything in the show? This is sounding more and more like a publicity stunt. A publicity stunt is not what Doctor Who needs right now. It needs to improve its writing. Listen, I know that the Time Lords have the ability to regenerate into males or females. This has been in the show before, at least in the revived series. Though it's not a question of we can, but rather should we do this in Doctor Who. Series 11 isn't going to be released in ages from now, but I don't see how this Doctor is going to be interesting or different from the rest. Other than being a woman, of course. How is the writer going to convince us that this Doctor is more than just a woman? You see the problem here, right? I hope you do.
They're not breasts, okay? They're Dalek bumps.
Let's talk about Jodie Whittaker as an actress. Judging by her IMDb page, she hasn't done much. The only thing I've heard of that she's acted in is Centurions 2. Need I remind you, I've only heard of this movie. I haven't seen it. Heck no. I've heard some bad things about this. Oh, look, David Tennant. Huh. It really is a small world after all. Imagine having to find a doctor for one of the most popular and recognisable characters in all of television. You would have to pick the most suitable, talented and exceptional actor you can find within the budget of the show, of course. You don't want to hire Robert Downey Jr. and have to pay him $25,000 a day now, do you?
I don't have to do anything. I've been in captivity for 3 months. There are 2 things I want to do. I want an American cheeseburger. And the other
That's enough of that.
is not what you think. I want you to call for a press conference now.
Call for a press conference?
Yeah, Hogan,
What on
drive.
earth for?
Cheeseburger first.
However, as I've mentioned before, the writer has worked with Jodie Whittaker before, so he clearly knows more about her than I do. So I can't complain. But I can criticise, which is different.
That is amazing. Where's that? Is that a Comic-Con? Oh my god, that is brilliant.
But fine, maybe I'm overreacting here. After all, Jodie Whittaker is incredibly excited to play the Doctor. I mean, who wouldn't be? I know I'd be happy if I was announced as the next Doctor, let me tell you. Jodie has stated it's overwhelming as a feminist to become the next Doctor. Oh. Let's talk about Series 10 now. I'm not going to go over any specifics here. There were some good episodes, there were some lackluster episodes, and there were some bore fests. But what each of these episodes have in common is that there is at least one bit of politically correct information in each of the episode of the series.
Why'd you come to my lectures when you're not a student?
Okay, so my first day here, in the canteen, I was on chips. There was this girl, student, beautiful, like a model, only with talking and thinking. She looked at you and you perved. Every time. Automatic, like physics, eye contact, perversion. So I gave her extra chips. Every time. Extra chips, like a reward for all the perversion. Every day, got myself on chips, rewarded her. Then finally, she looked at me like she'd noticed, like actually noticed all the extra chips. Do you know what I realised? She was fat. I'd fatted her. But that's life, innit? Beauty or chips. I like chips. So does she, so that's okay.
And how does that in any way explain why you keep coming to my lectures?
Yeah, it doesn't really, does it? I was hoping something would develop. What's that? You know you're my foster mum. He's like my foster tutor.
Am I going to have to break every bone in his body?
It's not like that.
You need to keep your eye on men.
Men aren't where I keep my eye, actually. Oh my God. I understand.
In what?
The last thing she said to me, she promised she wouldn't leave without me.
A last conscious thought, driving her across the universe. Never underestimate a crush.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
Last day before the thaw. Thought I'd better find a more reliable parking spot.
Wait, you want to go out there?
You don't?
It's 1814. Melanin.
Yes?
Slavery is still totally a thing.
Yes, it is.
It might be, like, dangerous out there.
Definitely dangerous.
So how do we stay out of trouble?
Well, I'm not the right person to ask.
As you can see, this is a personal recommendation of Pope Benedict IX. In 1045.
Pope Benedict. Lovely girl, what a night. I knew she was trouble, but she wove a spell with her castanets.
Doctor!
This is the Secretary General of the UN. I am the President of the world, and this is Xiao Liang. She's in charge of the Chinese army.
Interesting.
What is?
Regency England. A bit more black than they show in the movies.
So was Jesus. History's a whitewash. You're about to meet a man, alien or otherwise, for whom human beings are raw material. Who grinds up children for profit. What we're here for is one thing, information. You get that with diplomacy and tact, charm, if necessary.
Always so brilliant. From the first day at the academy. So fast, so funny. She was my man crush.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. I think she was a man back then. I'm fairly sure that I was too. It was a long time ago.
So, look, Time Lord's a bit flexible on the whole, like, man-woman thing then, yeah?
We're the most civilized civilization in the universe. We're billions of years beyond your petty human obsession with gender and its associated stereotypes.
But you still call yourselves Time Lords.
Yeah, shut up.
Get in.
Fake News Central.
Dr. Disco from the Fairford Club. Obviously, one aspires to membership, but to actually be considered for... Who let this creature in here? On your feet, girl! In the presence of your betters!
I'm feeling better.
Good.
Yeah, don't worry, Bill. Lucius will look after you.
Shut up, Cornelius.
Lucius, right, yeah, listen, there's, something I should explain.
What?
This is probably just a really difficult idea. I don't like men that way.
What, not ever?
Nah, not ever. Only women.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I got it. You like Vitus, then?
What?
He only likes men.
Some men. Better looking men than you, Lucius.
I don't think it's narrow-minded. I think it's fine. You know what you like.
And you like both?
I'm just ordinary. You know, like men and women.
Well, isn't this all very modern?
Hey, not everyone has to be modern. I think it's really sweet that you're so restricted.
Cheers.
We can be friends, though. It did save your life. That means we're friends forever.
Yeah, but I can deal with that.
It's freaky Scooby-Doo house.
Well, if you get scared in the night, you know where I am, yeah?
What?
Just if you need any of my help or my whatever, you know.
Yeah, I get that you're into me, but, sorry, you're not my type. Just, I tend to go for girls, usually, so.
Oh. All right. I was never in with a chance. Awesome.
Stop! This is what I'm talking about.
Doctor. Right. Well, you've been here chatting up Robo-Mop. Me have been busy. We've found it. Oh, hello, my dear. My God, you were so boring for all those years. But it was worth every day of it. For this. Though, didn't you used to be a woman? I'm going to be a woman fairly soon. Any tips? Or maybe, I don't know, old bras?
I am not upset.
Oh, well, doesn't that take all the fun out of cruelty? Might as well rile a fridge. Come on, this way.
What an asshole!
Problem. Opening the airlock was the station's plan A. Plan B, filtering out all the oxygen.
So they can sell it back to us.
Capitalism in space. If we want to keep breathing, we have exactly one option. Buy the merchandise. They're not your rescuers. They're your replacements. The end point of capitalism. A bottom line where human life has no value at all. But as far as I remember, there's a successful rebellion 6 months later. Corporate dominance in space is history. That about wraps it for capitalism. Then the human race finds a whole new mistake. But that's another story. They're looking for a place to stay, and they've got their eye on your city. Would you like me to discuss rent?
Is the future gonna be all girl?
I can only hope.
So what does all this mean? Well, I don't know for sure, but I can tell you what it could mean. These might be a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, come on. This is the BBC we're talking about here. What this could mean is that Doctor Who is easing its audience into a show about equality, change, moving forward, individuality, and acceptance. And when you really think about it, Doctor Who already has elements of all these things mentioned, but not exactly in a way a feminist would want. What this feels like is that the show is changing to suit more and more people so that everyone is involved. And I've mentioned earlier why this can be a problem. Like I said, it's a stretch, but it is the BBC we're talking about here. Let's go a little more into feminism now. Third wave feminism is not good. I've already made a video on this. That's how bad I find it all. Now, whether or not this situation has anything to do with feminism, this is going to embolden them. With Jodie Whittaker, the first woman ever to play as the Doctor, calling herself a feminist, feminists will use this as an excuse to fight for more equality that is more of their twisted perversation of quality. As if the Doctor turning into a woman isn't enough evidence to prove that there is not an inequality against women, at least in Great Britain.
I'm a girl!
Look, I don't hate women. I love women. If I hated women, I would actually feel okay being alone, never having a girlfriend, having them all laugh at me at high school, not one ever being interested in me, living up here in space, on my own, without any girl's company. Women can do amazing things. And you know what? I believe it is possible to cast a woman as the Doctor. But now is not the time. Not with the state the show is in, and absolutely not with the state the world is in right now. Doctor Who Series 11 is so far away from now, and I'm honestly not as worried as I might sound. Give it time and it's all just going to be fine. I hope I haven't offended anyone here. Who am I kidding? Of course I have. I'm trying my hardest just to express my concerns with the show. The point of this video isn't to deprive anyone of anything. The point is simply my opinion and expression. It's the whole reason I made my YouTube channel, honestly. You're welcome to disagree, and let's face it, most people do. It's actually nice hearing other people's opinions sometimes. As much as I completely disagree with many of the third wave feminist views, I can at least admire everyone involved in them as people just wanting things to improve, when it doesn't hurt anyone, of course. Even if I do think most feminists nowadays are incredibly misguided. But what do I know? I'm just ahead.
Someone there! I'm the Doctor!
Oh, look everyone, it's the Doctor. The real Doctor. Wow, incredible. What on earth... what in space are you doing here?
I'm here to rescue people and generally establish happiness all over the place.
Of course you are. You're always busy, you're always running. Must be exhausting. I must say I'm a big fan of your work, Mr. D. It's a shame you're leaving so soon. Did you enjoy your run?
Yeah.
Awesome. Say, you don't have long left. You only have until after Christmas until you're gone forever. What's your opinion on the new Doctor?
Same old, just the Doctor out in the TARDIS.
So I guess that means you're not as worried as I am about the direction you're going. Makes sense, I guess. Still, I'm gonna miss you like I missed all the rest of the Doctors.
Everything ends. And it's always sad. Everything begins again too. And that's always happy. Be happy.
Well, I guess you're right. I might not like it much, but there's not much that can be done now. What's done is done. Just gotta be happy, like you said. So what are you planning on doing after the Christmas special is over? Any plans?
These days I'm all about wearable technology. More advanced technology than your species will manage over the next 9 million years. I once invented an invisible watch. Spot the design flaw.
Yeah. We don't have hands. We'd never be able to wear them. You know, you're pretty smart, Doctor. Sure, your seasons were overall lackluster. At least to me. I had a much more satisfying and fun time with Matt Smith. He was a goofy one. He always put a smile on my face, like he was an energetic puppy. Well, you know, compared to you.
Everything is so...
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Your episodes were still good. It's just nothing compared to the last Doctors. If anything, I must say I was mighty disappointed with them. Sometimes you were a little dark and gloomy, other times you were trying to be cool, like a grandpa that's trying to stay relevant, you know? Not exactly consistent. Heck, you completely broke character when you yelled at Robin Hood that one time, so... in hindsight, you might be one of my least favourite Doctors.
If you're trying to make a point, I'm not listening. I don't want to change again.
Hey, all I'm saying is that you had more potential that wasn't really showing in the act.
7 billion. It's someone like you.
Hey, now that's pretty rude. I knew you were old and cranky, but I never pictured you as a bully.
Don't you ever call me a bully. I'm so much worse than that.
Jeez, man.
You're English.
Wait, did you just call me English? Dude, I'm not English, I'm Scottish.
I know, and?
You know, you're being a right jerk right now. Are you gonna go back to swearing like you did in The Loop?
Yeah, I haven't sworn for like 4 years.
Oh, good point, good point. Children still watch you, don't they? Don't want them to pick up on bad habits from an angry old man, do they? You know, after Christmas they won't have to anymore.
No! Hey! I'm gonna be dead in a few hours, so before I go, let's have this out, you and me, once and for all.
Oh, you're having a go at me, mate. You're having a go. You want to appease me. You want to fight me, mate. I'll work with your kind all day, mate. I take care of you old senile blokes at my nursing home. I'ma put you to sleep there, mate.
You're all the same, you screaming kids, you know that?
And you're just as bad as any other old man past his prime longing for the old days. At least you did look like David Tennant at one point. Not everybody has that privilege to be that handsome, you ungrateful.
Listen to me, listen. I just want you to think.
You know what, Doctor? You know what? I'm glad you're leaving. Jodie might be a feminist, but at least she looks like she'd be nice.
Sit down and shut up!
But I didn't...
Shut up.
But you...
Shut up. Shut up.
Doctor,
just
I...
shut up.
But,
shut
but
up.
you...
Shut up. Shut it up.
But Doctor,
I don't want you to talk.
I miss Matt Smith.
Kiss my sweaty balls, you fat fuck.